Anyways, I'm Crafty and these are my thoughts.
Testing. There we go. Let's try tele mode. See, yeah, that seemed like it'll work better. I don't know. I think I just prefer having a bunch of random names show up and find on the screen, but hey, I guess it's good to know. Alright, I'm your host, Crafty Andy. There we go. Let's turn on the music. I'm your host, Crafty Andy. CraftyArts. Well, really the hangout portion as I work on some Ratchet and Clank commission I got. Check me out at the main channels of WeirdZoRs, Pause Off for Gaming, and CraftyArts for the fun stuff. Making artwork and commentary. That's where I post most of my videos right now. Yeah, Jim Sterling finally dropped this video. The AI takes the art out of the artist. I figured it'd be something fun to listen to while I done this. Oh yeah, also, yeah, in case I up. Hey, Dalen. There we go. Now we're connected. Could do is yeah, music. Yeah, way too loud. All right, kill the music. So Jim Sterling has a video for me, not me directly, but this is about AI art. I think AI art is the future. I think it's pretty nifty what you can do with it. With the like Midjourney lets you type in a prompt and it'll scour the web for artwork and make an art piece out of it. I think I got one on here. Oh, let's see. Search. Type in Mark. There it is. Full screen. Oh, okay. Main screen's fail. Main screen, turn on. Alright. So this is why I typed in Mark Zuckerberg as a human, and this is what I got. And then I typed in Mark Zuckerberg stealing your grandma's identity. And this right here. Look at this beauty. This is so ominous. Mark Zuckerberg's here for her data. He's stealing your grandma's data. Look how worried she is. She's like, please, please help me. The look of dread in her dead eyes. That's a few of the art pieces I did through the AI. So I'm curious to see what Jim has to say about it. You're an adult babysitter with weapons. You're not talking about like you and your girlfriend, right? Oh. Yeah, my I was like 7 or 8 when my grandpa was declining in health, and oh, is your job. Okay. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Now you put it that way. Yeah, you're an armed babysitter. For adults. Some which can legitimately cannot take care of themselves. But yeah, my grandpa got to the point where he was having hospice care at his house, and man, my dad had to take care of the bedpans. You could smell it across the entire house. And I didn't complain though, even though I was like a little kid. I didn't complain about it. Like, what was I gonna say? You know, stop making stinky shits, Grandpa. Yeah. Yeah, I gotta give my props to my dad, and his brothers took care of that shit on shifts. That literal shit. But you know, hospice is about just making you comfortable until the point you pass. Really, I think if I'm in that state, I know it's a cliche to say it, but I don't know. I should have at least the option and the ability to choose my way out of this existence. If I had kids, I wouldn't want them wiping my ass. I'll just put it that way. I don't like the idea of nurses doing it either. If I'm to that point, I'm not. What am I going to do? Start a career in my bed for the next 6 months to a year? Just let me go. And then my second grandpa, yeah, he got through dementia, and finally he had to go to assisted living because yeah, there was a turning point where he crashed his car through the garage into the neighbor's yard. Your aunt would go over and cook all the meals for the week. Oof. Yeah, I see what you mean. All right, let's get painting though. I want to listen to. I want to hear what Jim Sterling has to say about art, AI art. All right. As I mentioned, I think it's the future. I think it's going to be a tool that many artists use. I consider it kind of like an idea machine. If it gets good when it gets good enough, because it's just at the infancy right now, it's going to be able to just save a whole bunch of fucking time. Like, if I can at least get like the outline, or maybe lay down some building blocks for like a kid's book, for example, and I can just make some adjustments. Holy shit, you know how great that'd be? It's just going to be like a ruler, protractor, or any other tool you use as an artist. You know, all these butthurt artists saying, like, it's stealing our work without permission. Like, bitch, that's how you learned your art. That's how every artist learns. By looking at other people's creations and art. Whether it's the photography, references, or just straight up illustrations that you copy from to learn from. That's exactly how it goes. And I'm sorry, as long as it's not a complete trace, an exact replica of your work, you can't claim plagiarism. My only issue is that big billion-dollar corporations are the ones that are going to be banking on it right now. They're gonna be the one that eventually puts behind some sort of gate that you cannot afford to get through. They're gonna be the gatekeepers on it. They're gonna hog the best AI technology. We won't be invited to use it. That's my theory, though. I gotta change out my battery, of course. You can't just remember to change out the battery beforehand. Alright, I'll be right back here. Alright. Apologize for that. Okay, Jim Sterling, lay it on us. Yeah, I just had to get my battery replaced on my camera. I'll let the delay catch up here. It's just like, of course I had to forget my battery. Alright, Jim Sterling, what do you got here? Make sure it's not too loud.
Hello everybody, it's me once again, James Stephanie Sterling, Hourglass Big Fat Ass. I'm here today with news of a little bit of a change.
Oh, he's gonna make a joke about AI. No, they are. They're gonna make a joke about AI. I can't remember Jim goes by, James Steph goes by he, her, or them, but whatever. I'll figure it out soon enough. Oops, that's not what I want to do. I want to actually do an audio test on myself. Test on myself. There we go. Okay, let's do this.
To our editorial team, I've had enough of working with humans and their foibles, so-called people with hands and eyes and thoughts of their own. Oh no, I'm done with all that. This week's Gymquisition is edited in no small part thanks
Nice
to
Godzilla
an
machine.
artificial intelligence editor, Neon 352. I have a feeling that you're going to really enjoy the changes that she's made. It's not actually that much different. Still, what could go wrong? It's an artificial intelligence. Nothing will go wrong.
It's gonna be abused as fuck. There's gonna be some scandals, I'm sure.
If you will. A world where nobody has to work because machines do all the labor. Sounds nice on the surface, right? In fact, it's the future many a science fiction story has dreamed of. An automated
Including Star Trek.
that was in the heady speculative
most part.
media of my youth promised to us. A world in which nobody has to work is quite the dream, until you remember that we all live in an actual fucking nightmare. Now imagine a world where
Yes.
nobody has to work because machines do all the labor, but everybody has to have a job because it's been decided that's the only way all but the very rich among us get to survive. That's the future we're facing. In fact, for many people previously working in fields where automation has already taken over, it's very much the present. A world in which machines do our jobs is not a convenience if we're not guaranteed a basic livable income
Thank
to
you.
replace the job.
That's exactly
That's
what I was
just a world
thinking.
in which we can't pay rent.
What you need is a universal basic income. Like, it's predicted, even before this whole AI shit started blowing up, it was predicted that almost half of the jobs are going to be replaced and automated away. Period. So it's going to be just a necessity that we get some kind of universal basic income. Otherwise, yeah, you're going to have you're going to have an interesting time as I don't know, people get more desperate and petty crime rates start spiking. Someone called 911 saying someone walked up to him and slashed him with a machete. Damn. He still has his arm hanging on by a thread. Checked the security cameras from the street and tracked down the attacker. Barricaded suspect, gassed him out, shot him with knockout gas pellets, and got him into custody. Smooth. Very fortunate, no one died. See, like that's an interesting example right there. If we had a universal health, I can only make so many assumptions and speculative judgments on this, right? But someone attacking another person with a machete out of nowhere is pretty fucking crazy. They had no prompt and no motive for it. That makes it extra crazy. And someone like that should be in a mental ward and actually getting treatment. But we live in a capitalist society that makes it so someone like him could never afford it if he wanted to get it. Counseling, I hear, is very expensive. Alright, what do we got here? I gotta add some orange to Ratchet. Yeah, he was on drugs. Yeah. Depending on his situation, that's another form of like self-medication, right? People can't get the medication they need. They just turn to hard drugs to do it and to do it for them instead. Cocaine and meth, dealing with PTSD. So fucked. Alright. Photos. I just need to pull up Ratchet here. Continue on, Jim. Oh.
But Considering how coerced labour is what allows the executive class to stay wealthy at everybody else's expense, our current socio-economic system won't adapt. The only people who benefit from having their jobs done for them are the people who were already benefiting from that long before machines replaced what they call human resources.
Or parasites, depending on if you're reading Ayn Rand work.
Artificial intelligence. It's the latest craze, having seized our culture's imaginations in a big way since last year when AI-produced images flooded social media. And it was fun. You know, you could type any combination of words into a program and it would give you a selection of fucked up, yet still strangely accurate approximations of your concept. Decepticon frog. Johnny Cash pooping by the bins outside Taco Bell.
I have a whole collection I did too.
Whatever you want, AI could produce a ghastly gist. It really is fun. It's a Decepticon frog. And look at my lobster boobs.
Oh, I couldn't do those.
As a toy, it's fun. A plaything. At least until everybody starts arguing about rights and licenses, and then the same penny that's always dropping drops. In that time, AI-produced art has developed frighteningly quickly, and it has become embraced by the same irritatingly evangelical tech bros who try to shove NFTs down our throats with aggressive, railroading, arrogant insistence. In fact, it's alarming just how quickly they started pushing AI as soon as the NFT grift fell apart, and that's because, ultimately, it's the same damn scam. Not in terms of methodology, or even practical immediate results, but in intent. AI-produced art has the same long-term goal NFTs always had. The same goal tech bros and corporate interests have had for years. The goal of taking the artist out of the art.
This is an art attack?
NFTs worked differently to achieve this.
I can't argue against that. This pretty much sounds like what the goal is.
The artwork attached to NFTs was inconsequential, since that's not what was really being sold. The vague idea of value for value's sake was. This is why so much NFT art is shittily produced and looks worse than the random crap printed onto Pogs in the 90s. A talented artist never had to be paid for an NFT to be minted. Any random joker could just scribble something. Hell, they were selling NFTs of tweets, the least artistic things in the world. AI's focus is different, and altogether more of a direct threat to creative professionals, since their replacement is, well, more direct. With AI, the art does matter, but like NFTs, you don't have to pay an artist. You type words into a program and let it cobble together its forgery. A plagiaristic forgery, mind, but we'll get to the theft angle in a moment. The crypto-guzzling tech fetishists want us all to believe that not only is AI art the future, it's also superior to human-crafted works. They have spent the past year pushing AI art on social media with almost cult-like devotion, and an underlying hint of sneering aggression, the same kind of combative smugness that they applied to Bitcoin, the metaverse, NFTs, and every other cynical soulless scam they glom onto. Some of the art they push is admittedly not bad, sometimes even quite nice, but it's most definitely imperfect, uncanny, and soulless.
Yeah, like I said, it's going to be a tool that you can use. Threats against artists have been around for before I was born. I mean, first of all, it's an industry where a lot of them get treated like shit. Like, all I hear about are stories about how artists not get paid, get fucked over in the industry, that sort of thing. Yeah, or worse, they do things out of exposure. Just insane. And that's technically how YouTube works, right? You do a bunch of shit for exposure points before you can even get paid. But hey, that's how the online world works right now. I need something that shows off his little satchels. Like metal. Here it is. Good one. Oh yeah, that's like silver, gray. What we got here? One for state troop. Sometimes the only way is using a gun. Yeah, that's true. Police. I was watching a guy on Live Leak get running from police on the highway and decides to run at them with a knife. Like, what are you gonna do at that point? What do you expect the outcome to be? On. Oh, doggo. That's the time to start pining for attention. All of this. Damn, he really knows too. Right. Yeah, the scary aspect too is that with this AI technology, it can already mimic voices. There's already going to be a scandal at some point of either a celebrity or a politician, someone of importance and influence, doing something illegal or unethical, but that's really just a deep fake. And there will always, and it's going to, in fact, probably create a new profession where people have to analyze something to prove whether or not it is a deep fake. Because it's going to get to the point where people aren't going to be able to trust video anymore. We already had the thing with you couldn't necessarily trust photos because photos could be photoshopped. But unfortunately, I don't know how I feel about people taking the AI generated images and then saying it's plagiarism, because technically everything's plagiarism at that point, because everything's influenced by something. And there's no such thing as originality. There's an illusion of originality simply because you haven't seen what came before it. Superhero films today are not anything new. They were there in even like the 50s when cinema was still in its golden age. Genre films in general, films that were just there for special effects, spectacles. There's one called Jack the Giant Slayer that came out in like 1950s or something like that, 1960s I think it was, and it showed off this green screen technology or blue screen technology at the time, where they could make people look like little people and people look like giants. And like the story wasn't exactly the most engaging, but hey, it was a special effects extravaganza at that time.
Embarrassingly, many of the AI evangelists have had the cocking nerve, the collitting goal, to start calling themselves artists.
Nope, I want to call them that. I want to call them artists. If all you're doing is typing in prompts and getting images and using that as your base, it's just straight up, I don't know. Oh yeah, so that actually brings me back to the point I wanted to get into, is that when cameras were on your phones, a lot of photographers lost their jobs in these positions at like journalists companies and news reporter companies or whatever, because they figured, hey, you could just take pictures with your phone, just use that. Thing is, even with having a camera on your phone, that doesn't mean you're going to get good pictures. And so a whole bunch of people came back with shitty looking photos. And so even with all the technology that made taking photography and taking pictures more convenient. You no longer had to do chemical processing for photos, for example, anymore. You still needed someone that knew what they were doing. Even as things get automated as far as like programming goes and writing scripts, yeah, you can make an execution with a script, but if something goes wrong, it's gonna pay to actually have someone who knows how to code in order to fix an issue, rather than someone who's just running executables, trying to make something work. And educating themselves on the fly on Google or some shit. And same thing with art. Like, the generation from AI art, probably, I can't say, like, as good as it gets, as good as it's going to get. I don't know. It still creates a lot of errors. And maybe as time goes on, those errors will become more noticeable by the general people that are confronted with AI art. AI generated images to the point where it'll probably just be movies. Imagine that. Imagine not having to have $100 million to do a movie. You type in what you want, what types of themes you want. You get a movie script together, put the movie script in the algorithm, and it generates a full-on realistic looking movie for you. That would be awesome. All these creatives being able to realize their visions without having the connections needed in Hollywood and movie industry, animation industry in general. That would be an amazing time. As long as that technology remains free and open, or at least affordable for people. That's the key point here, is that it needs to remain free and open and not locked down by any company. Just like the internet. The internet was only there for like networking and between different corporations. We never would have the internet the way it is right now. I wouldn't be on here. I'd be doing something else. I'd just be doing the artwork and probably like selling them at shows or something. What we got? Your favorite Batman villain is Scarecrow. Makes Gotham Gotham, and Gotham is very dark and scary. Ah. I know it's a cliche, but mine is definitely Joker. If I were to pick a second, I think Ra's al Ghul, because he's Batman, but the opposite in a sense. He's more about mass murder, a means to an end. Most of the Batman villains that I've grew up with were pretty cool. We have the animated series to thank for Harley Quinn. But yeah, Joker all the way. And the Riddler can be fun too, because he's a guy who likes to do crime but leave clues to his crime, just making him extra insane. Alright, what do we got? Let me, I want to go through more of this a little bit quick.
Fucking insult, as if the injury of threatening
Just a little more, and then I want to go into yours.
Enough. I hate gatekeeping. I would categorize myself as an enemy of elitism.
Me too.
Come the fuck on. The fuck on. If you tell a bot to make you a picture, you're no more an artist than I am a member of Slipknot. Actually, for a more genuine example, I am not an artist whenever I commission an actual artist to draw an idea I had. Sure, I might imagine Sonic the Hedgehog staring at you while you sleep, but it was Teriyaki Weasel who did the art, who applied the learning, the experience,
I love
the
it.
talent, who did it. Who just, you know, did the art. I can type a man-sized bumblebee eating a live rat while the Ultimate Warrior sucks on its stinger with the tenderness of a midnight lover. But look what happens when I try to draw the fucking thing.
I love crude artwork, though.
Grifters, y'all ain't artists. You just said words. You're taking credit for work that a robot took credit for, you fucking rifles. Oh yeah, credit. Here's the thing about AI. It's not intelligent. It's, of course, artificially intelligent. As in, it is not creative. It does not have ideas of its own. It has no experiences to draw from. It doesn't know why something looks pretty or scary or funny. It doesn't know anything. It's an algorithm that applies its stockpile of data
Yeah, we know that.
actual artists. So that comes from, oh, I wonder where. Oh, actual artists.
This part I want to
This
get
is
to.
how AI art works. It can only ever be as quote-unquote good as the best human artist because everything it generates is the result of images.
This does relate to me.
Copied from human art. This isn't a creator merely being inspired by somebody else's art style. This is the result of replicating, reconstituting, and regurgitating the chewed-up slurry of people's existing work. It's what made companies' attempts to claim ownership of images generated using their software so fucking gross. Not only were the
Yeah,
source
I would
ideas
definitely be
not
against that. The idea that you own the fucking images, I don't know, to some degree. There could be an argument on that, I suppose. But I don't like the idea of it being monetizable right now, simply because the only ones that are going to be trying to monetize it are fucking rich assholes. So yeah, the idea that someone could claim copyright on it, because yeah, that means if take that image and try to use it, some douchebag is just going to be like, hey, use my image without permission. Oh, you mean your AI generated image that you just typed in a prompt and got? No. Go fuck yourself. I can do whatever I want with it. So yeah, I guess that aspect I would be in agreement on.
The source art assets used to realize them weren't really either. It turns out that, like everything the tech sector starts pushing with fervent desperation, it's all a thinly veiled grift.
Let's see.
I
In his
won't
tail.
pretend that my own dislike of AI is completely rooted in artistic integrity. While that's a big part of it, I'll confess that I think AI is just plain bloody scary. It's not just pictures that are getting replicated. People's voices and likenesses, video footage, audio, text, it's all getting automated, and the implications are grim. The other day, some troll sent me footage of Joe Biden spouting truly horrific transphobic rhetoric. And look, I'm not saying Biden might not think we're scum, but the video itself wasn't real. So-called deep fakes like this are terrifying. They can make you say anything, do anything. They've also been used in porn to a shocking degree. I love porn, but damn, that's just fucking creepy. Speaking of porn, we're really starting to see the motive behind AI-generated imagery when it comes to wank material. That's where the master really slips. The sheer contempt that inveterate masturbators have for adult content creators has been obvious since forever. In nerd circles, the concept of paying for porn is laughed at, and the advent of platforms like OnlyFans has been met with utter hostility. I recall the hateful glee with which such people celebrated when OnlyFans made moves to restrict adult content. It's what society's always done. It uses, it exploits, it benefits from sex work, and then absolutely shits all over the sex workers. The treatment of sex workers is among our culture's biggest, sickest hypocrisies. Just the other day, I spoke to someone who talked with entitled
Again, can't
fury
disagree.
about OnlyFans ruining things.
Like, wait, what? Oh, entitled Fury. Okay.
By attracting all the porn stars and allowing them to control their own content distribution. Funny how women taking control in general just seems to make nerd boys flip out. I thought about this when I discovered what's become my favourite pro AI tweet, displaying AI generated girls with the giddy exclamation, "It is so over!" Now, there's a lot to pick apart with this shit. We could talk worriedly about how young the girls look, and always seem to look in these things. We could point to the girls' hands.
Yeah, they're all
remark how so few
smooth and
AI-generated
no
models
blemishes.
even point with such mangled fucking fingers because AI can't get digits right. I think what really needs dissecting, though, is the amazing reply this tweet got from one sweaty palmed tackle tugger.
It's the bush detail for me.
But no, the important part here is the fact that these images were presented as a threat. It is over, they say. So over. Over for whom exactly?
Yeah.
Who would it be over for? In the unlikely event that everybody started spraying off to generated genitalia. Well, it would take the porn star out of the porn, the artist out of the art.
This is an art attack.
The men who have nothing but contempt for the women they jerk it to can't fucking wait to cut them out of the splooge splashing bargain. Just look at how many incels obsess over the concept of sex bots. Things without agency that exist as nothing more than a wet hole to pump a pud's payload into. Contempt for
As long as they don't go after real women.
whether it's porn or not. It ain't uncommon. Just ask any artist how often they've been asked to create something for exposure instead of cash. And then ask them how fucking angry, how self-entitled the would-be commissioner became when they were informed that the artist had rates, that they wanted real money in exchange for real labour. It's
I
so
can only
common that the
imagine.
phrase paid in exposure is a running joke among, well, writers, painters, pretty much anyone in the creative field. Witless pricks think art is easy because they don't know the first thing about it. So they think they shouldn't have to pay. And this is a misconception that AI-generated art is only going to, in their minds, confirm. Because again, they don't know the first thing about real art. They don't care if art has meaning, has soul, has a life lived behind it. Remember, these fuckers were into NFTs. They don't think that art is valuable on its own. It only has value to them if they can exploit it for cash. It's no wonder that they love their keyword-generated imitations so much. It's no wonder they dream of a world without artists. Blissfully ignorant, of course, that if they did get rid of all the human artists, their replicant Rembrandts wouldn't have anything to fucking steal anymore. And it's clear that this joyful dream of a world in which creators are cut out of creativity appeals in abundance to the corpo scum that controls commercial media. Professional creativity is expensive. Artists cost money. Actors cost money. Musicians cost money. If there's one thing corporations hate, it's spending money when they could save a buck and damn the consequences. AI is going to be increasingly embraced by movie studios and game publishers and media of all sorts. We're already seeing such concerning situations as voice artists being undercut by programs that copy their voices and make them say anything. And that's before we get into movies resurrecting dead actors so that we can bring back Princess fucking Leia, which throws up all sorts of fucking questions about consent and desecration, things that corporate media has no respect for. You take the art out of the artist, and you're free of having to pay them, having to respect both their human rights and their copyrights. You don't got to deal
James
with
Earl
unions
Jones is
for
always going to be playing
performers.
Darth
So long
Vader
as you
even
don't
after he's
mind your
dead.
so-called art being derivative, heartless, cynically created, and bizarrely fingered, you can save a lot of scratch by having a machine make your film, video game, or even book. And just like when robotic arms started to replace factory workers, the end goal of AI art would see a lot of people suddenly unable to work in a society that demands they work or starve. And the fucking dipshits who have always hated artists for not having real jobs and get angry when they won't make shit for free will just smugly declare that they should, well, get a real job. Yeah? Yeah, should they? What fucking jobs? We're running the fuck out of them! What we really mean to say is that AI art may get a bad reputation, and yes, there are risks, but really, can we not talk about the potential for AI art to dynamically disrupt the market because disruption is good, because disruption is good? On reflection, I think I was wrong.
Mad girl.
about AI art. The future of art is AI art. The future is AI art because disruption is good. I need scissors. 61. I was wrong. I was bad. You cannot doubt the power of AI. Neon 35-2 is best editor. Her structural perfection is matched only by her hostility. Thank God. For me.
Alright, I think we're done. I think we're at the end of here. We're having fun now.
Well, that's enough of that. And that's enough of Neon 35-2. Just in time. Apparently she was working on developing a new font that will drive anybody who looks at it mad. Sour Helvetica. Doesn't bear thinking about, really. I hope you enjoyed this week's video, whether or not you agreed with it. And if you don't agree with it, you're just so wrong. Fuck's wrong with you?
I love when people take that so personally, too.
What's your fucking problem?
I don't agree with it, you're wrong. What?
Well, it appears I'm out of a job. Shit. Rent's still on the 5th. If anybody's looking...
Like, yeah, and people are using AI to write scripts and stuff like that, but, you know... There's always going to be something that's off about it, probably. What game comes out without bugs? What program doesn't have bugs in it that need fixing? Same thing with, like, AI-generated anything. Otherwise, it'll probably be like the movie Idiocracy, where you have all this shit that's automated, but at the same time it's broken. Because no one knows how to fucking program and fix it. And that's why you see in that movie, like, automated turrets shooting themselves. For example. Machines misinterpreting words and unable to be corrected. What do you got? What did you send me? The person who voiced Scarecrow and Justice also voiced Freddy Krueger. Oh, nice. And Scarecrow, yeah, Scarecrow's pretty awesome too. Oh boy. Alright. Sensitive, eh? Graphic images. Security video shows attack on professional at Kansas High School in Coast. Student attacks high school teachers who took his Nintendo Switch. Oh man, I guess I can understand this. I mean, if someone took my Nintendo Switch, I'd be fucking breaking some necks too. No one fucking touches my Nintendo Switch. So let's see, where is it here? Whoa. Jesus fucking Christ, dude. So, okay, so she's the one taking his Switch away. What, for disrupting the class or some shit? And then this guy decides the best response to this is to just outright attack her unprovoked. In reality, it's unprovoked. Well, he's angry not having his Nintendo Switch now. I'm fairly certain he's not going to get one for a while. After this. What did you think the end goal? What's the end goal here? Really? Can you do a little more effort to stop him? What the fuck's... Holy shit. Dude. What a fucking baby. I get that it's probably not just the Nintendo Switch being taken from him. Unless he's psychotic. That this is like some boiling pot being built up over time. I could speculate all day about all this shit, right? Like, why would anyone attack someone so brutally over their Switch? Has he never been told no? Is he a spoiled brat? Has he been told no about everything? Is it the opposite extreme, where he's just abused at home by students And this is like his breaking point, right? It's kind of like a person who gets pushed around by a bunch of people, right? And then someone the kid doesn't even know accidentally like knocks a paper over off his desk, and he's the one that gets his ass beat because he was just the straw that broke his back. But like I said, there's no 100% on any of this. This is just me getting ideas based on personal experiences and observations. That is just fucked. He fucking wailed on her. Them on the ground, they get knocked out. Yeah, and when wrestlers do it, it's for theatrics. It's planned. It's coordinated. A lot of people die from that shit. Yeah, you know what? I wouldn't blame you for tasing him if that was the case. You saw that happening and he wasn't getting off. Fuck grabbing him. I'd tase his ass. I don't like solitary confinement. Solitary confinement is definitely torture. It's legitimately proven to be torture. I much prefer to figure out what the root of this person's anger is. Because I guarantee you, it's not just some teacher aide taking his switch away. There is something more going on here than the surface level. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it. I always say I hate having to clarify shit, but he doesn't. Of course, he's responsible for his actions. Of course, he shouldn't just be let go. Of course, he should be punished or whatever. Well, not punished, but he should be corrected, incarcerated, interrogated. But yeah, I think ultimately what needs to be figured out, though, because no matter what, he's going to get out, right? He's going to get released back into society. And solitary confinement is only and the environment of the prison. Not that you can do anything about it, Dalen. I'm not expecting anything from this. Not that you can change the system like that, but I'm just saying he's going to eventually get let go, and him being in solitary and him being in an environment full of hardened criminals and shit like that is not going to help him. If anything, it's going to make him even worse. Most of the time, that's what happens in these cases, especially if it's in a private prison. Because private prison, they wanna hold those people there as long as possible. And they try to set it up so that he will go back. You know, they'll pull on some ticket or some, some other incident, harass him, whatever. They'll find some way to get him back in there. Yeah, I don't mind him being in it. Like, I understand him being in like a cell by himself, whatever. Getting some, I don't know, some TV to occupy his time. He's just going to have to go without the Switch for a little longer. But ultimately, I would like to see him actually go through an actual counseling and figure out what the fuck prompted him for that kind of attack. Seriously, that does not happen in a vacuum. That is some learned behavior or something that was built up in him, especially since this is high school. All that angst that goes on with high school kids. Fuck. Or this. Yeah, he's lucky he didn't fucking kill her.
Stand up for me. Put your hands behind your back. Turn around. Turn the other way. Stay right there. Got it? Okay. Hey, stop. Stupid. I'm gonna kill you!
Yeah. Not making it any better with that kind of talk either.
Palm Coast, Florida High School under the microscope after a brutal attack on a teacher's aide. It happened Tuesday, all caught on camera. You first see her walk into view. Then she's attacked from behind by a 6'6", 270-pound student. The paraprofessional falls to the ground unconscious. The student stomping on her back and repeatedly throwing punches in a beating that lasts roughly 25 seconds, even as students and staff try to help her.
This could have been a homicide.
Fucking effectually help her, by the way.
Like that, they hit their head. You never know the outcome.
Yeah, she could have permanent damage from this
who
too.
is not being named since he's a minor, has been charged with felony aggravated battery with bodily harm.
Am I going to jail?
Yes, you are.
No shit.
According
I'm
to
in
the
jail.
report, the suspect told investigators that he was upset that the employee took his Nintendo Switch game away from him and made comments that when he comes back, he's going to kill her.
If I'm the
Ain't coming
prosecutor,
back
I'm going
now.
to listen to that evidence and I'm going to ask myself, what does that say about the state of mind of this student when this was happening?
The president of the Florida Education Association calls Tuesdays
I tell you what, it's all that damn rap music they listen to. That's what it is. It's those video games. Is that Fortnite? Oh, he wasn't playing Fortnite? What was he playing on there? Oh, it's that fucking Mario. That fucking Mario game. Drove him fucking crazy. He just couldn't stomp the Goombas when he... That teacher aide took that Switch away, sent him into a rage. A rage that he learned from watching Mario throw fireballs at turtles and walking mushroom and eating mushrooms. But yeah, there's only so many like possibilities with people like this, right? Like he could be just as likely to be like some insecure douchebag who just flies into a rage over nothing. At the same time, he could just be like the quiet kid who gets picked on by everybody, and this is just the thing that pushed him over the edge.
attack, a consequence in part of understaffing.
Florida has been dealing with a massive teacher and staff shortage issue.
I wonder why. I wonder why Florida's dealing with a fucking staff issue and teacher shortage. Maybe because you don't pay them a fucking enough? Maybe because you're constantly in the media talking about how they're fucking brainwashing kids and turning them into woke drag queen transgenders. Maybe you should bring DeSantis on here and ask him why there's a fucking teacher shortage. I'm sure he'd have a bunch of interesting things to say that are just nuts. Still in the hospital, and there is also a wrist lock in Krav Maga called Walk With Me. Yeah, where he is in pain, push him forward and tippy toes in a fast manner when I take him wherever I want. And I would also put a spit sock over his head where it's pretty much a gag and he's unable to speak. Yeah. Oh yeah, the restrained chair. Yeah, I've seen that too. But yeah. Just as much as I hope she gets through a full recovery, I hope whatever's fucking up with this kid here gets resolved too. Because otherwise, if he just, you know, like I said, if he gets locked up and nothing's done other than that, What did he learn? He didn't learn nothing. The only thing he learned is that he might want to try a little harder next time and not get caught. Like someone who does that, once you gotta have someone that's able to take the emotion out of it and say, hey, tell me what's going on with you. Because the ideal situation is this. That teacher A gets everything that she needs for her medical. That guy faces his fine or punishment or his time in prison or whatever, or jail, but also gets counseling so that he can actually be a contributing member of society, so he doesn't end up back there. So he knows better than the flying of a fucking blind rage. Again, someone taking his switch away. How you slice it, that is not fucking normal. Anything but normal.
When you don't have enough staff, it's harder to manage students in our schools.
The district superintendent says creating a safe learning and working environment on our campuses is critical. Violence is never an appropriate reaction. The violence landing that school staffer in the hospital, who is now facing a long road to recovery. Emily Ikeda, NBC News.
Yeah, and on top of that too, not that I know anything about this kid, but there's also this push and idea that hey, shut up. That counseling is a bad thing. That we shouldn't have counselors for students. And there's such a stigma on counseling. People seeking counseling. And with staff shortages like that, then even if this kid wanted some help or to talk to someone, he probably wouldn't even have the option. Ridiculous. Close to getting everything done here. How guys does he have green? Greenish yellow? Brown nose. tongue. Right in there. Want green. Oh, we're getting close. Things I need to do. Wrench here. I'm pretty proud of how this turned out. Merch, but maybe. Alright, we got think the next thing would be doing a background. Darker shades in there. Where's my dark gray? Forgot, I need to take meds. Medication. Alright, medication taken. Ron DeSantis in Florida.
Ron DeSantis, who has not yet announced that he is running in by Fox News' Mark Levin. Now, it's not clear who's more deranged and delusional. Is it Ron DeSantis or is it the host Mark Levin? But just for a little bit of context, Mark Levin has a weekly show on Fox News. And there's always these storylines that show on, and then you've got the dark light. Mark, it's always important. Again, have to
there you go.
About national politics, starting with talking about the woke.
Yes, you have to fight the woke in the halls of government.
The woke. Like it's a fucking entity. Is the woke in the same room as me right now? Is the woke hiding in the closet? Where's the woke? Where's the woke? Oh no, the woke. Coming for us.
And in
right.
legislative chambers.
Right.
And we have super majorities as Republicans in Florida, so we will win all those fights. But you also have to be willing to defend your folks against this agenda being shoved down their throat.
Right.
From all these other
What agenda?
Terrible.
Where these people aren't necessarily coming up for elections. So you talk about things with like the young kids and with Disney.
The Disney.
Listen, this guy is at the forefront of the most important issues. The woke have to be fought in the halls of government. And, I mean, look at this major issue of Disney.
Disney
affirmed in some nominal way gay rights. And so we've got to deal with the woke folks.
They didn't even affirm gay rights. They just affirm that gay people exist. That's the only thing Disney ever does. But according to DeSantis, it's something that needs to be fought against. That's an agenda being forced down our throats. Gay people in movies and books and media existing. Why there's no definition of woke. This is why it's a general term. It has no meaning. Anything I don't like, that's it. Anything I don't like is woke. And it must be unwoke.
Here, they want to hear a lot of the same pseudo-fascistic so-called culture war issues presented in a marginally more serious manner than Trump presents them. Now, that's a separate issue from whether, if a campaign gets going, constitutionally, personality-wise, DeSantis has what it takes to face Trump. It's a different question. But this is the same old nonsense. He then talks about how there was an attempt to impose intersectionality. Oh, the horror, the horror.
Florida, our standards require teaching all aspects of Black history, and we think it's important. We also, when we do critical race theory, which we were
you
do,
can't.
Right or wrong, it was nonsense.
We also required in that same bill that schools have stories of inspiration about great Floridians and great Americans from a variety of different backgrounds.
You can't claim to want to talk about all aspects of Black history and then say you're going to ban critical race theory, something that is actually taught in college, by the way, not elementary school. It is an idea of how we look at the systems that are behind our country, and how a lot of them have institutional racism behind them. And how they were ran, and how a lot of policies were forced, like the war on drugs was strictly a thing to use against those who were protesting the Vietnam War and Black people. That's all it was. That's what the war on drugs was for. One of the archetypes of behind it even admits in the Nixon tapes. We know that we were lying about the drugs. Of course we did. It's one big shit show.
We need an entire thing about Dana White and the heroic UFC events she held during the virus pandemic.
to be inspired that they can do well in Florida, as they get old. Critical race theory is basically saying some are oppressors, some are oppressed. What kind of
no, it doesn't.
Is that sending to these very young kids? So we require all of that.
Remember, there was no critical race theory being taught to young kids.
Our standards in terms of the basic history. What the College Board was trying to do, they were trying to impose CRT. They actually were trying to impose in a Black Studies course queer theory. They were trying to impose intersectionality, and they were trying to impose effectively neo-Marxism. And so the question is if that's something you want to do on your own time, you're free.
Save neo-Marxism for the privacy of your bedroom, please.
Free to go pursue that. Our taxpayers to be supporting that type of indoctrination, that is not something that we want.
Instead, we want to indoctrinate them ourselves with God and Jesus and all this other nonsense. We don't want them to indoctrinate. That's the kind of indoctrination we're in for. Yeah, fucking break. All right. Get out of here. Gunmetal. On there. Alright, I guess I gotta call it from here. Alright, I'll be back on tomorrow. Maybe do some gaming this week. Good night.